What I explain in the video was approved by the US Senate. Most of the documents were destroyed so that you wouldn't learn about it.
MK-Ultra was a secret mind control project of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, during the Cold War. What does MK-Ultra mean? MK, a code used within the CIA for technical projects. Ultra, the highest level of secrecy. So roughly, a secret mind control project. What was MK-Ultra? It was carried out between 1953 to 1973. What was the purpose? What was it supposed to be? To control the mind, to force confessions, to direct behavior, to develop brainwashing techniques. So what did they do? Without people knowing, LSD and other hallucinogens, psychotropic drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, electroconvulsive shocks were applied. Among the test subjects were prisoners, mental patients, soldiers, ordinary civilians. So how did it come to light? In the 1970s, it was revealed through U.S. Senate investigations, Church Committee, but CIA Director Richard Helms ordered most of the documents to be destroyed. Because of this, the full scope of the project is still unknown. Why is it talked about so much? The government conducting unethical and illegal experiments on its own citizens. The destruction of documents. It has been made open to conspiracy theories. In the 1950s and 1960s, there was an invisible enemy in the United States, one that was felt at every moment. This enemy had no face and no clear shape. Its name was the fear of the Cold War. While American people went on with their daily lives every morning, they lived with a single question: what if war breaks out today? The nuclear tension between the Soviet Union and the United States did not remain only at the politicians' tables. This fear had entered the homes of ordinary people. Children were taught at schools how to hide under their desks in case of an attack. Shelters were dug, and market shelves were filled with canned food and water. Televisions, newspapers, and radios constantly delivered messages saying that danger could come at any moment. This atmosphere deeply affected people's psychology. Loyalty to the state began to be questioned, and the word communism was almost used as an insult. People started to become suspicious even of their own neighbors. It was exactly at this point that fear stopped being just an emotion and turned into a tool of control. The price of being safe, the idea of obedience, slowly began to be normalized, and people started to accept giving up their freedoms in exchange for protection. Because when people are afraid, they do not question. They do not even object. If that happened, they would say, "The state must know better." The events I am about to describe took root in this climate of fear, and their consequences were dark. By 1953, theories were over, and the CIA gathered its work under the name of mind control into a single project. The name of this project was MKULTRA. Its name was strange and cold. The project began with the approval of a CIA official. However, there was one single condition behind this approval. Everything had to remain secret. Neither the public nor the test subjects would be aware of it. Because the purpose of MKULTRA was very clear: to push the limits of the human mind, and in fact, to break it. The most horrifying part of MK-Ultra from the very beginning was the test subjects. People were specially chosen not because they were strong, but because they had no way to defend themselves. Namely, patients in hospitals, prisoners in jails, students and soldiers, and even people walking down the street. In fact, the situation was this: none of them knew they were test subjects. Experiments carried out on students at schools were presented as psychological tests, and what substances were given was never explained. Patients were given substances under the name of treatment and recovery. And the most terrifying event was this: the CIA had brothels set up in certain states. The real purpose was to give LSD to the customers and observe their reactions. There were also mirrors behind the rooms, allowing CIA agents to watch everything comfortably. In the 1970s, the United States was changing. The Vietnam War and political scandals had shaken loyalty to the government. Journalists began asking questions, and the Senate came under pressure. And eventually, an investigation into MKULTRA was launched. But when the CIA took action, before the investigations even began, the majority of the documents related to the project had already been destroyed. Hundreds, thousands, almost all of them were eliminated. Only fragments remained. But even those fragments were enough to understand most of what had happened. When the truth finally surfaced, it did so only partially. Yes, MKULTRA existed. People had been used as test subjects. But no one went to prison. Some families were quietly compensated. Names were never revealed. The project was said to be terminated. But how and when and whether it truly ended, no one knows. And this video told the story of a project from the past. But the real issue is not the past. The real issue was this: if a government could do this to its own citizens and pay almost no price for it, what would be possible today? They say MKULTRA officially ended, but the documents are gone. The witnesses are silent, and history has taught us this. Some projects never end. They only change their names. And the end? Stay tuned and don't forget to like and comment.